Introduction, Variables and Basic Data Type in Python. Hi guys, I'm Rusahang from YoYo Education and welcome to the Python tutorial series. In this video, we are going to talk about variables and basic data type in Python. Variables are one of the fundamental building blocks of program written in Python. Variables hold data in memory, they have names and they can be referenced by name. Variables also have types which specify what type of data they can store, such as strings and integer, and they can be used in expressions that use operators such as positive and negative to manipulate their values. Now before we'll get started, please subscribe my channel if you're not yet. Let me know if you have any question and turn on the notification for future video update. With that, let's get started with variables. In Python, a variable is declared and assigned a value using the assignment operator equal. The variable begin assigned to is on left hand side of the operator, and the value begin assigned, which can be expressions such as 1 plus 1 and can even include other variables, is on the right hand side. The examples assign number to variables, but number are just one of the several data type that Python supports. Notice there is no type declared for the variables. The reason is because Python is a dynamical type language, which means the variable type is determined by the data assigned to it. In the example above, the x, y and z variables will be integer type, capable of storing positive and negative whole numbers. Variables names are case sensitive and can use any letter, number and underscore character. However, they cannot start with a number. Now let's move to the next topics, which is data type in Python. There are many data types in Python. Now out of those, I'm going to talk about only 4 data types in this video, which will frequently might encounter when we are trying to perform day-to-day scripting tasks using Python. So these 4 data types I'm going to talk about today are integers, floats, strings and Boolean. So we start off with integers, and integer actually whole numbers which can be either negative or positive, like 1, 2, 3, minus 10, minus 50, minus 30. As you can see over here, many numbers that we normally use for day-to-day tasks can be categorized into this integer class. So the second data type that we are going to discuss today is floating point data type, which is also known as floats. Floating point number or floats are basically numbers which has a decimal point in them. The addition of 0.0 to the end of 1 make a large difference in how the programming language treats a value. The data impact how the value is stored in memory, how the processor CPU handle the data when evaluating expression, how the data related to other data, and what kinds of operation can be performed with it. We are going to talk about this detail in the upcoming tutorial as well. Alright, so let's move on to the third data type, which is string. Now strings are an argument of one or multiple character. Now for example, you can say that if you are trying to write someone's name or someone's address, or maybe multiple names of cities or an entire paragraph, actually all of these things categorized as string. As you can see over here in the example, that name called Rusahang and this name of the IDE called Visual Studio Code, the name of the city is called Kuala Lumpur. So all of these things have been represented by a combination or a collection of or a sequence of characters, which in Python is categorized as string. Alright, so let's go to the final data type that we are going to talk about in this video, which is Boolean data type. Now, even if you are completely beginner to Python, assume that there is a good chance that you might have seen the above three data type in your regular day-to-day life. Now, we come to the Boolean data type. A Boolean can actually have only two types of value, either true or false. Now, if you want to think of some example where Boolean data type will fit in about you switching a light on or off, because in that example there can be only two outcomes, either the switch is on or it is switched off. You can attribute the switch begin on as true or the switch begin off as false. Alright, so now let's open up our text editor or command and let's get started with the integer. As I said before, integers are just whole number, negative or positive. It may be such as, you can see that x equal to 1 plus 1, print x, and then run it by here, its output 2. You can see that Python recognizes that as an integer, and it can be numbers like 5 times 5, even 10 minus 1. So all of these are actually integers. Now Python, there is actually a quick way to check the type of data that you are working with. Now for example, you can say print type x, and you can see that it is actually giving you the data type, which is class int, which stands integer. Alright, now let's go to the floating point value. So as we discussed, floating point value can be something like 1.0 or 10.0 or 1.2345. All of these values actually belong to the floating point data type. And again, if you would like to look at the decimal, I rename for the decimal here, x equal to 1.2345, print type x, run it. You can see that its output, the data type is class float. Alright, next data type is in Python. When it's come to string, you have to use single quotes or double quotes. Now just keep in mind that the quotes are not actually a part of the string. It is only symbolize the fact of Python that what I'm passing here is just string, so it can be something like x equal to hello world. Run it. You can see that when I write this, I use double quote, and you can see that Python recognizes that. But you can also use single quote to write the string. For example, now I'm using single quote. You can see that it recognizes that as well. So you can basically write multiple combination of characters like this, similar to the example which I demonstrate here. So again, we check the type. And you can see that the data type is class str, which is stand for strings. Alright, now let's move on next data type, which is Boolean. Now Boolean data type are actually straightforward. It can either be true or false. Now as you can see over here, when I type x equal to 10 is greater than 9, y equal to 9 is greater than 10. Print x, print y. You can see that 10 is greater than 9. It is true. And 9 is greater than 10. It is false. Now check the data type. You can see that type is indicated as class bool, which is representation for the class Boolean. So I hope you got an idea about the very basic Python variables and data type that we are actually going to use for day-to-day scripting tasks in Python. Now just keep in mind that there are actually much more data type than this in Python, but as beginner, for the content that we are going to cover throughout this introduction, Python is absolutely beginner's course. These 4 data type will be sufficient enough to do quite a lot of work. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoy this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe my channel if you're not yet. Let me know if you have any question, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Take care, peace, and happy coding.